9-inch coil out here and a Deus one with a low frequency 9-inch coil. People might be curious to see, you know, how these compare, and I'm going to run full tones on both of these machines at some points in this video so people can, you know, hear what they sound like, how they compare. Now, I'm going to say something here, and there's been some comments made. The comments are true, okay, as far as the full tones on the Deus too, but there is something that needs to be talked about as far as this goes. This machine in multi-frequency is doing things that the high frequency calls on the Deus one and low frequency calls can't do. And what I mean by that, the circuitry, ever how XP has this machine set up, it will be in what you call a highly challenged test, yet in pitch tones, and maybe even in the 2, 3, 4, 5 tones, it will give a signal, okay? Yet you'll go to full tones and it don't sound so good. So what I'm saying is, you Deus one laying over there, what it's going to do in those cramped situations where this machine is given a tone or an indication of a non-ferrous present, it's shut down, okay? It's shut down with a low frequency call and it's shut down with a high frequency call. So when we start comparing them, it's you know, you got to take that in consideration. So what I'm saying is if I take this machine and compare it on a test that machine passes with flying colors in full tones, if I listen to it with this machine, the Deus 2, in full tones, it's going to sound pretty good. But vice versa, not so good, okay? So anyway, here we go. Now, you know, there's people that make comments, you know, and I don't know how they make the comments that they make. I've got 3 setups here, 2 with high conductors, a dime, elevated nail about 4 inches, a quarter with a nail, 2x4 width high, 1 U.S. nickel with 1 bobby pin elevated. Now that nickel could be, you know, that could be a pull tab, that could be a gold ring. It's a low conductor, okay? So now I'm in the fast program on this machine. We're only going to look at the fast program, and first I'm going to scan all of these targets using the pitch tones, and then I'll go back and I'll sweep them with full tones, okay? So I'm currently in, make sure I'm right here, I'm in pitch tones, and these machines will be compared with the pitch tones max pitch, okay? And the silencer on this machine is going to remain at 2. Okay, and I'm going to turn the silencer on the Deus one to minus 1. Okay. Okay, I'm going to get this notch out of this machine. No notch. Okay. Silencer's going to stay at 2 on this machine. Pitch tones with max pitch, reactivity 3, sensitivity is 90 on both machines. Now, what this video is really going to show is it's going to show the versatility. I can run one program on this machine, hit all these targets from the most difficult angle. Now, yeah, these are staged, okay? But guess what, folks? Some people laugh at my testing. Well, let me clue you in on something here. If I take a round HF call from a Deus 1 and a round low frequency call 9-inch Deus 1, and I do similar tests in this, you know what happens? On low conductors, for sure, the HF call wins hands down. So if you take a Deus 1 into a site loaded with iron and you hunt it, an old site, and say the only machine that's ever been on it is a Deus 1, and you go in there and you stay 5 years digging non-ferrous signals only. If somebody walks back in there with any kind of skill with a HF call, you know what's going to happen? They're going to dig some non-ferrous targets. And there's high chance if you do a head-to-head on those targets, the signal will either be worse on the Deus 1 or non-existent, okay? So these tests do have some merit, okay? Now, they're not the whole, they don't tell the whole picture. Okay, so here we go. We're in the old fast program. And you see the old clad diamond there? This nail's about 4 inches above it, okay? But now it's off to the side, okay? You hear that? So that's no problem, is it? No problem at all. Now I'm going over here to this quarter with this longer nail. The quarter again is setting off to the side. You hear that? No problem. Now the old nickel with a bobby pin suspended off to the side and above it, okay? And that's over probably right at 3 inches. Now there's bobby pins in parks, beaches, you name it, okay? Look here. You hear that old nickel? It's just wiring that nickel out, ain't it? Okay, so what I'll do now is I'm going to go in here and go to full tones. Let everybody hear this thing. We'll go back through the same test here. Okay, so the signal's not as pronounced. It's hitting it. Here's the quarter with the nail. So you got to hear that. Now, PWM tones are selected on this machine, okay? Here's the old nickel and a bobby pin. Okay? So you got to hear that. Now, here's what we're going to do. You know, there was some loose talk made on the forums when this Deus 2 come out, you know, and all these people, you know, the Deus 1, it'll hit everything a Deus 2 will. Okay, well, let's see what happens here. Mono program. And I'm going to dial the reactivity on this is going to stay at 3. Now, you might use a reactivity of 2.5 or 4 and get better results than what I'm showing. Okay, it's possible. Okay. Okay, silencers at 0. Pitch tones. Pitch is dialed all the way up. Frequency. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to go in here. .41 kilohertz. This is about the mid-band center, I think, on a high-frequency Deus 1 coil. All right, let's see what we get on this test right here. You see that? El Zippo, okay? And remember, that's a high conductor. Now we're coming over here at this old quarter, okay? So what we get is we get tone only coming from the left, but there's nothing out here for a masker, okay? Departing that nail, bringing the call over is very, very tough. It's giving maybe just a smidge of a signal with a real controlled sweep, okay? Now we'll go over the old bobby pin here and the nickel. Now the nickel being a low conductor, that's where the high frequency coil thrives, okay? But high conductors, now that quarter's quite a ways from that nail there. You see there what I'm getting? So I get a one-way signal, okay? Now, what if we go up in frequency? Here's 40.4 kilohertz. Let's go back over this nail here in this dime. Now remember, there's nothing out here, even coming in with that nail bothering the field of this coil. And that being a high conductor. Now, if I come over here and get down close, you see the machine is working. All right, back over this nail here. See, again, I get good tone coming left to right. And then back over the old nickel here. Of course, being a low conductor, we would expect that, okay? If we trade that nickel there out for a dime and use this frequency here, we probably won't get anything. Okay, or if we do, it'll be so shaky, you know, it might be one of those signals that you would never dig. But I'm not going to show that, okay? So now we're going to go down here. Let's just play we'll just go down here to 4 kilohertz. Let's see what happens here. Oh, look at that. I get a one-way signal. All right, one-way signal on that coming in, but never nothing coming from the nail side, okay? Same, let's try this one here. All right, so now I get two-way signal on that coil there, but I'm at 4 kilohertz. What about this nickel on this bobby pin? Uh-oh, look at there. So if that was a gold ring or a nickel or pull tab or whatever, what would you do? Okay. So we're going to turn this machine off here.